You're watching France 24 and it's time now for us to look through the international press together. Jinty Jackson is going to do the honours again today. Jinty, good morning. The focus, of course, on Zimbabwe, D-Day, as voters go to the polls with the dizzying choice of Robert Mugabe, or Robert Mugabe. Tell us what the papers are making of it.
Well, Catherine, you know things are bad when even the leader of the opposition is urging his supporters to vote Robert Mugabe. That's the headline in the UK's Guardian today. Those voters are expected to be herded to the polls and told their vote is their bullet. But I've also been looking at another UK paper, that's The Times, which features a rare personal view from one of the few journalists still based in Harare, and I think we've got the wrong slide up there. But the Times article by Jan Rath speaks of a sickening fear that stalks the street. One health worker tells him there's an eerie resilience to victims there. They come out smiling, they're eager to bounce back, they'll do anything to defeat Mugabe, but the downside is that these people will be emotionally damaged forever.
Jinty, the real bombshell this morning comes from the South African paper, The Mail and Guardian. What's the story there?
Well, the Mail and Guardian's headline is SA arms flow to Zimbabwe. Now, the South African military aid that they give their neighbour is, of course, nothing new, but the fact that it's been going on throughout this crisis perhaps is something of a bombshell. It's worth mentioning that the very government minister who's in charge of a committee that approves private and state arms sales is Sydney Mufamadi, and he's also President Mbeki's envoy in those Zimbabwean negotiations, so it's quite a strange situation. Now, the other scoop in the paper concerns Mbeki's relationship with Robert Mugabe. Mbeki's prescient warning to Bob, that's the headline there. The paper says that, in fact, Mbeki sent a scathing critique to Mugabe about his policies as early as 2001. Where he warned him that they would have disastrous consequences. So this kind of overturns the notion that he has been kind of a buddy-buddy with Bob all along. But then how do we understand the seeming paradox? Well, the editorial in the Mail and Guardian says he's just a poor judge of character. He has been all along, and he kind of thought he might bring Bob around to see reason. But in fact, obviously, he hasn't been able to.
Well, on a lighter note, Jinty, you promised us news of the contents of Barak Obama's iPod. I, for one, am dying to hear what we should be dancing along to if we're supporting Barack Obama at the conventions in August, which we might be. Tell us what it is.
Yeah, I won't keep you in suspense any longer. That playlist includes 30 Dylan songs and an eclectic taste that goes from John Coltrane to Bruce Springsteen. Now, this is featured in the New Zealand Herald this morning, but it's part of an interview that'll be featured in next month's Rolling Stone magazine. His favourite all time is Stevie Wonder, and it's all part of a campaign to show he's just an ordinary guy.
Indeed. Well, thank you very much. Jinty, just time for the football now. Spain, of course, going crazy with joy. They've reached the finals of Euro 2008 for the first time in 24 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Spain's El Mundo title declares that theirs was a cinematic-style victory, and of course, yes, reminds us that this hasn't happened in nearly a quarter century. But let's just look as well at the Russian press quickly. Now, there's Sport Express, which we didn't manage to translate the headline very well, but the photo that you see is says it all. It shows the bright young hope Andrei Arshavin, who was a youngster discovery of this Euro Cup, but he dazzled in the quarterfinals. There you see him kind of praying and looking very distraught, but he didn't shine last night as Russia crashed out 3-0 to Spain.
Well, à suivre, as they say in France. That's Spain-Germany on Sunday. Of course, we'll be talking about that in the press review, no doubt, on Monday. But stay tuned to France 24. Thanks very much indeed, Jinty Jackson.
Thanks.